I will talk about freedom and passion. Freedom in my creative process and how my passion led me there and most importantly kept me going. Imagine you wake up tomorrow and you suddenly have the freedom to follow your passion for one day without any constraints. Close your eyes if you like and think about what would you do? Which passion would you follow? That you maybe wanted to follow as a child and as a grown-up, but never did? Where are the rock stars, dancers and astronauts? Really think of this specific day of fulfilling your biggest passion. How does it feel like? How does it sound, smell, or look like? Studies show that most people never thought about that, and neither can they describe it in detail. Why is that? I think that most passions and dreams in life are blocked because of society, norms, money, emotions, other external factors, you name it. So, when I was a kid, I wanted to become an artist, an oil painter, like my admired heroes, like Christian Rex van Minnen, Otto Dix, and Edvard Munch. When I was 14 years old, I inherited the old oil colors of my great-grandfather, who was a painter as a craftsman and an artist in his free time. This is his last painting he did before he died, and it's hanging over my bed. It reminds me that freedom is not for granted, especially if we look at our experiencing right now in the world. I think a good way to react to that is with gratitude. Gratitude and understanding why we can experience our freedom. Because we can only walk and drive on roads because other people built them before for us. So now I'll present 3 combinations of passion and freedom that led me to some sort of freedom that I've discovered, that kept me going, that freed my art, and I hope to inspire you as well. The first combination is how my passion led me to creative freedom. So the first pushback I experienced is when I prepared my first exhibition in Stuttgart. I was 15 years old, and at the time I thought I understand everything, and obviously also that nothing can stop me. I think you already anticipated. I failed. Yeah, like asking for an exhibition in the top 10 galleries of Stuttgart. An oil painter might have impressed them, but certainly not enough to offer me a solo gig in their spaces. But painting, and especially painting with oil, had already opened up a new space for me to express my thoughts, ideas. I suddenly felt free in the process. Yeah, I really love this style of painting very much until this day. Just the smell of the colors and solvents, the feel of the rough canvas and the smooth brushes, the bright, vibrant colors, the behavior of the material. Can you feel my passion? This passion has even doubled when I experienced now finally a way to express my creativeness through a method that now suited me the most: oil painting. So the second combination is how my passion kept me going and led me to creative freedom again. In 2019, I planned my first world travel. Suddenly I found myself in the middle of the pandemic. An experience of a blogger that you might know as well. So I experienced the fragility of freedom and the difference between internal and external freedom. I didn't feel free at all during that time. In the beginning, I thought that the pandemic only limits my external freedom. Yeah, we couldn't go out, couldn't meet more than 3 friends. And in many countries, it was even worse. But after some time, I realized that also my internal freedom was limited. And through factors like the uncertainty if I would be able to make it on my world trip, that made me feel unrestful. Then the monotone daily routine. Yeah, we still could do some limited activities, but the overall daily routine didn't include much variety. Yeah, that made me feel bored and also frustrated because I didn't do more. And then lastly, putting pressure on myself because I didn't do more. And to not waste time and to perform like before the pandemic. I had a significant painting blockade, and I even had to convince myself to sometimes to do some paintings in order to not forget how to paint. So there was this inner voice that told me that next to all this uncertainty, there is still passion, like a North Star, that you can be 100% sure to follow, because it will lead you to freedom. And one project that my passion led me to, through which I can process also my emotions and experiences, is a project that is also fueled by my perception of current topics. And not only I can experience the relieving fact of processing my emotions through the art, but also the viewer can. I attained that by freeing my art, and how I did so, I'll explain in the third and last combination, which is when not I experience the freedom, but my art does. Did you play poker before? So the best poker player is the one who doesn't show any emotions in the face in order to not reveal his cards in the game. That's called a poker face. But why do we even want to read in people's faces? There are so-called mirror neurons in our brains that constantly scan the other person's behavior in front of us in order to react emotionally. So not being able to read someone else's face is hard for humans. We need orientation. Otherwise, we're suddenly free and have to fully project our own thoughts, experiences onto the other. Exactly this freeing task of projecting your inner self onto someone or something else is now required by my new series. Just like the poker player, I veil the human face, and by limiting myself and veiling and removing the human face, I create a canvas on the canvas itself for the viewer. Yeah, it's confusing to use limitations, to set limitations, which is quite the opposite of freedom. But the result was the freedom to focus now on the part that matters, which is the painting. Because what I didn't realize before is that the viewer only sees the painting and not the thoughts behind. Back then I was super focused to include a complex meaning in every painting. But now I can focus on my task, which is providing this freedom to the artwork and for the viewer. So a poker face leaves us with all the freedom to react. Are you going all in, or are you going to fold your cards and leave the game? Just as it is with viewing a painting. Either you engage with it and complete its meaning, or you don't. That's also the freedom that now I hand over to the viewer of my series. And it's up to him if he wants to grab it or not. To conclude, my passion helped me as a North Star to do a step each day. And what seemed like a sudden success was the process of many months. The compound effect that led me to the realization that it's not about me anymore. It's about the viewer. I still can express my thoughts, feelings, reflections, my view of the world, but it's up to the viewer how he perceives my art. It's not on me to decide what he should feel and think. It's maybe weird and uncomfortable. You have to make up your own mind. But freedom in its complete meaning is not always easy and is very individual. It's on each of us. So, what's holding the rock stars, dancers, and astronauts back? Maybe it's now possible to overcome certain obstacles that separate you from freedom. Feel free to think about me and my speech, whatever makes sense to you.